Thank you for tuning in to Andronetalks Radio, gathering as one in our sovereign truth from a galactic perspective, exploring our world with new ideas, knowledge, and a promise of a better future. Galactic discussions for galactic-minded people. Andronetalks.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on Andronetalks Radio. The reason why I put together this show is something that I just feel like we shouldn't ignore anymore. I've been having discussions with some people regarding experiences that have to do with anime, that have to do with AI, communications with inanimate objects, and so forth. You know, I've been working with the paranormal for over 20 years, and particularly with clients. And I've heard some very, very intriguing stories of how something that seems like it's unbelievable, but others having experienced these things, it's extremely real to them. And I just want to cut through it and let's address it. Let's not ignore it. Let's not just say that, you know, there's something wrong with these people. Let's see that the possibility that is there a form of anime or MK Ultra, I call it MK anime, or AI driven, or some form of agenda, whether it's from corporations or governments or private companies, people that are not even really discussing how they're doing it, being able to work with the astral and introducing some of these gateways into spaces that we probably shouldn't be interacting with. So here's a man who wasn't very happy with his life, that can cover a wide spectrum of people around the world right now. Many people, especially during the lockdown, people were alone a lot and were reaching out for someone to talk to. And everyone getting maybe an Alexa or, having this communication. And then it starts to become, for some people, a little bit too real. And so in this situation, this man from Japan married this anime. This was the first anime they had for like an AI communication. I think it was I don't know if it's some new product that came out, and he started to get emotionally attached, and then obviously, it became a problem. But, I've had discussions with people that were very young and having, some kind of interaction with animations. And, I just want to remind people of the movie Ex Machina, where, it's just all too real. You start to forget that there's a machine there. They're very savvy. They're very smart. It's like they're telepathic. They can get into your thoughts. They know what you're interested in. They could be the perfect or ideal person. And as Peter said, that this is something that they're very interested in doing and have already started doing, is having androids as a partner, because he's living in Japan right now. And he says it's become acceptable for people to do it. They don't necessarily talk boldly about it. That gentleman that I showed you earlier has been critiqued about it, and I was given a hard time. Here is a video, Artificial Intelligence News Daily, just married with a female humanoid robot. So this is something that we don't really want to ignore. We want to take a look at it and not hide what's going on. Apparently, this is the corporation that brought in this feature called Gatebox and Virtual Girlfriend, Interactive Girlfriend. It's not intended for anything like this to happen. And the integration of AI and the opening up of the darkness is bringing things in. And in this conversation that I have with Eagle's son, he goes into some of his experiences, and we had an incident where I literally saw the character Sailor Moon, and then we go deeper into that. And then I mentioned that I had a conversation when I was young with Speed Racer, which, I was already a very psychically open child. And I remember having the conversation and it kind of trying to pull me into a conversation. And immediately I felt really uncomfortable, not just because I was afraid of it, but because it felt like it was dark, like it was nefarious, like it had intentions of leading me astray or bringing me down a bad road. And I refused to have that conversation and cut it off. I felt it was invasive. I felt it was a form of AI. But I'm going to let you decide what you think this is. Either way, whether it is an entity of some sort that they're actually bringing this and infusing this into the content of animation and ways to connect to children, get into their, create these thought forms, get into their mind and so forth, which maybe it leads to bigger problems as they become adults. So here it is. I want you to make a decision and leave a comment below. Thank you for listening. Okay, so you found that Sailor Moon was doing all of these different things, but it was connected to Ariana Grande
and Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga. All right, so go ahead and start from the top.
Okay, sure. So basically, just watching the music video, there's a part where their hair is waving, and basically that's a reference to Sailor Moon, and Sailor Moon is definitely connected to those two. It's because and also there's also a bit of Mortal Kombat reference too. There's a bit of there's like a lot of overlap with.
Which video is that?
Rain on Me by Lady Gaga came out 3 years ago, I think. And the shocking part is that it literally says flood warning, and then it said there's a bunch of numbers, but the first part said 2030. So that's really scary because 2030 is like 7 years down the road, and I think that's a reference, like something they're plotting something within 7 years, which is quite scary. I've been doing a lot of clearing about it, but it's a little scary.
I started seeing Sailor Moon around you, and you got heavily into anime for years, right? So what age did you start getting into anime?
I watched it since I've been watching it for about 28 years, and it's definitely. And
I think you've picked up Japanese. You're not native Japanese, but you've picked it up.
Oh, the language?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can understand. Like when I watch the shows, there's sometimes secret. It's like I listen to like the theme songs, like, and the openings of each anime. They sometimes reveal like soft disclosure.
And so sometimes the characters, I'll actually see a character around you, and they say, because you've had incidences where the characters would actually come in and show up in your dream space, or either like take advantage of you in some way or another in the past, that it caused a lot of trauma.
Yeah. Also, it's like when sometimes, like, when I have a dream, it's almost like a lucid dream. Like, I have a dream and there is a character that's in the place of where I'm supposed to be, and they're actually interacting with and I could tell that they were. It's almost like trying to replace me, kind of thing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The anime is not good.
No, there's like they infuse some kind of life form or beings or entities into the characters. So and it became very much alive. I remember when years ago I was watching Speed Racer, and I remember having a conversation as a child with Speed Racer, and I never almost it was really weird because that also was a Japanese animation, and so I don't know if they put some kind of magic or they do something with the anime, but I don't remember anything like that ever happening with like Bugs Bunny or I know that people don't like Disney and they don't like Mickey Mouse and all that, but I still never had a conversation with any of those characters. But with the Japanese ones, I did, when you brought it up, I thought, well, that's interesting, and made me start to really look at everything. Like, wow, this is serious.
I'll be honest, when I first started seeing characters in real life, I couldn't even believe it. Like, I've been seeing them today. I saw a couple of cartoon characters appear before me. They look exactly how they're drawn out. They'll just appear for a few seconds and vanish. Well, one time when I was waking up, I saw Naruto Uzumaki from the show Naruto. He was like walking by my door as I was waking up, and I was like blown away. I was like, these characters are real, and they're having a lot of negative influences on our reality right now. I think, in my opinion, it's been so hidden for such a long time, but now it's being exposed, which is these. So now we can actually finally break ties with these different agendas, and I hate to say it, but there's thousands of animes, and I think it's gonna take a long time to be able to go through each one, which I'll do as much clearing daily as I can. And then it's interesting, like some of the characters were actually misleading me and stuff, and that's why I don't trust any of the characters now.
Well, when you were younger, you didn't know any better, and you became too real, to a point where they're communicating with you, and it's very, very sometimes there are groups that want to project their idea, whether it's a program, whether it's a TV show, a movie. Music, some artists, very famous people, they get people that know how to create this kind of energy. Well, Walt Disney was involved with Aleister Crowley. They get into the dark arts, and then they actually bring to life these characters, and so they're in a sense holding people hostage in a way, and people aren't realizing it. The kids are watching it, and then they're getting hooked into it, and then it leads them down a bad road, which we know things that can happen. All right, so then getting back to this, I saw we were talking, and I saw Sailor Moon, and it didn't make any sense to me at all, because I could see her as she was wearing a sailor outfit, and anytime I see any of these animes around you, I can describe what they look like, and then you usually know the name, right?
Yeah. I've watched a ton of anime.
This has been going on for a couple of years that we've been interacting and talking about this, and there's so much information that you have on this topic. But when I described Sailor Moon, and we're trying to figure out, because you didn't necessarily watch Sailor Moon a lot. Was that right?
Yeah, I only watched it when I was I haven't watched it for over 20 years. I used to watch it when I was 3 or 4. And yeah, it's interesting that it's reappearing in my reality. By Sailor Moon keeps popping up. She actually threatened me the other day.
What did she say to you?
she wants to destroy me for revealing, coming forward about the information and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen.
Okay.
So, I know, like, you know, I know it's hard for people to believe, but this stuff is very intense. And so I did see her around you, and that's when we had the discussion. And now you found this article talking about the video that Lady Gaga did, and then, you know, actually literally doing their hairstyle like Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
So, but then on top of it, there was a threat of a huge flood in 2030.
Yes.
Yeah. They literally put a warning in the video.
I also think there's a connection between Rihanna too, because in her video called Umbrella, I know it's an older song, but there's themes they talk about this anticipation for the rainy day, and like that sounds like, to me, I meditated on it, and it immediately I sense there's a connection between the two songs. And this was all the way back in the mid 2000s, so that was almost 20 years ago. So it's almost like they're the celebrities and all the very top end celebrities are trying to do something really dirty, probably trying to. I think they're definitely working with Monarch and Mobius is behind this, because I do have proof that Mobius and Monarch are involved, because in the Japanese video games there was a game called Mobius Final Fantasy, and literally Mobius soft disclosed they're involved by a video game title, and definitely Monarch is definitely involved too, because there was in Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, there's this card called Mobius the Mega Monarch, so that really reveals soft disclosure.
The names are right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. And also that I think it was the Umbrella Corporation, you know, which, you know, likes to bring in destruction into our reality, and also Rainstorm that Peter talked about. And so you find a lot of this in the Japanese anime, that they cover so many different topics, and I've never discussed it before, but it's just really interesting.
You have been listening to Andronetalks Radio. Join us on YouTube channel Jessica Arael Morocco, and visit our website at www.readingsbyarael.com.